The wind howled down the empty street like a hungry beast. Snowflakes danced through the air, landing on rooftops, trees, and the old stone church that stood near the edge of the town. Jacob Reynolds, a middle-aged man with tired eyes and a heart, too big for his own good, pulled his jacket tighter as he locked the front doors of the church. Another long evening of cleaning and checking the boiler was finally over. As he turned to leave, sound caught his ear. It wasn't loud, just a soft, broken cry, a whisper more than a scream. Jacob stopped, turning his head. The sound came again. From behind the church, cautious, he stepped toward the back, boots crunching the snow. He expected to find a stray cat or maybe a child playing a prank. As he rounded the corner and looked behind the pile of broken crates, what he saw made him freeze. There, curled up against the cold stone wall, her skin shimmered with a strange silver-blue hue, almost glowing in the moonlight. Long hair, pale and wet from the snow, stuck to her face. Her eyes wide, glowing faintly, looked up at him with fear and pain. Jacob took a step forward, his voice soft. "Are you okay?" The girl tried to speak, but her lips trembled too much. The words came out broken, in a strange accent. "So cold. People..." Jacob didn't ask any more questions. He wrapped it around her gently, trying not to startle her. She flinched at his touch, but didn't pull away. Her body was ice cold. "Let's get you inside," he said, his voice calm but firm. She nodded weakly. Jacob knelt and lifted her into his arms. She was lighter than he expected, almost fragile. As he picked her up, the girl's necklace shifted, a small, round pendant hanging from a black cord. For a brief second, it flashed with a soft golden light, then dimmed again. He stared at it for a moment. "What was that?" he muttered. The girl didn't answer. Her head fell against his chest, eyes closing. She had fainted. Jacob moved fast. He pushed open the church's side door and carried her inside. The old building was still warm from the furnace, but not enough. He laid her on a padded bench and ran to grab some blankets from the back room. As he returned, wrapping the blankets around her, he looked more closely at her face. Her ears were a bit too long, her skin too smooth, and her eyebrows had small, sparkling lines that looked like silver tattoos. She wasn't human, at least, not fully. "What are you?" he whispered, more to himself than her. Outside, the wind had stopped, but something else had taken its place. In the darkness behind the church, a shadow moved, silent, watching. It had no face, only the shape of one. Its body shimmered like glass, blending into the night. It had seen the human taker. It had seen the pendant flash. It had heard the cry. And now, it waited. Back inside, Jacob lit a small fire in the church's side room, the only one with a fireplace. He placed the girl closer to the warmth. Her breathing was soft but steady. Slowly, color returned to her cheeks. He sat beside her, confused, worried, and strangely protective. Who was this girl? Why was she here? Why did that pendant glow? He had many questions, but no answers. She whispered one word in her sleep, a name, a warning. Virelli. Jacob didn't know what it meant, but something in the way she said it made the hair on his neck rise. He looked out the nearby window. Snow fell gently now. The night was calm again, but deep in his gut, Jacob knew something had changed. He was no longer just a simple man working at a quiet church. He had just stepped into something far, far bigger, and someone or something out there knew it too. Asterisk, the firelight flickered gently against the old stone walls of the church's side room. Jacob sat on a wooden stool beside the girl, his coat now draped over her as she lay bundled in blankets. She had been unconscious for nearly an hour, her breathing slow but steady. He had never seen anyone like her glowing skin, silver markings on her face, and a pendant that pulsed with soft light when touched. It felt unreal, like a dream wrapped in winter's chill. Outside, the storm had calmed, but something deep inside Jacob told him the real storm was just beginning. She stirred, her eyes opened slowly, bright and unnatural. For a second, she looked at him like she didn't recognize him, like she didn't even recognize the world around. Then suddenly panic rushed into her face. "No, no, don't take me back," she cried, her voice cracking and strange. Her words were in broken English, but clear enough to understand. Jacob raised his hands gently. "You're safe. No one's here but me." She blinked, shaking, still unsure. "Where? Where is this?" "It's a church. Small town. Earth," Jacob said slowly, unsure what part of that mattered more. She sat up fast, her body shivering, eyes darting to the shadows. "You are human?" He nodded. She stared at him a long moment, then her shoulders dropped. She looked down at the blanket. "I ran," she whispered. Jacob leaned closer. "From who?" She didn't answer right away. Instead, her fingers clutched the pendant. At her neck, for a moment, it glowed softly again, and then went dark. She was silent for so long that Jacob thought she might have fallen asleep sitting up. Then she spoke quiet, but with a heavy weight in her voice. "They came in the dark," she said. "My guards. They were good. Strong, but not enough. We were supposed to land safely, hide here, wait for the signal. But they were waiting for us instead." Jacob listened carefully. His eyes searched hers. "Who were they?" She hesitated, and she looked up at him with eyes full of sorrow. "Hunters. Paid to take me back. Whichever's easier." He frowned. "Take you back where?" Again, silence. Then she said, "It's soft, like a secret she wasn't sure she should share. To the throne. But not mine anymore." Jacob felt a chill, and it wasn't from the cold. "Are you saying you're royalty?" She didn't answer, but her expression was enough. That look of pain, of someone used to being guarded, dressed in gold and silk, now wrapped in old blankets inside a forgotten church. Her glowing skin, the strange markings, that necklace, it all made sense now. "What's your name?" he asked gently. "Lyra?" "Okay, Lyra, I'm Jacob. You're safe here, I promise." She gave a small nod. Her fingers tightened around the pendant again. "There were 5 of us," she said quietly. 3 guards. Our shuttle was meant to hide in the forest outside your town. But they knew. Someone told them. The others, all dead. Jacob's jaw tightened. He didn't know what kind of galaxy she came from or who she was supposed to be, but no one deserved that. "Why come to Earth?" he asked. "Neutral world. They thought it was safe. Thought no one would look here, but someone did." "Yes, the pendant. It's not just jewelry. It has something inside. Proof I am who I say I am. My blood, my code, my right." She looked up. "They want it." He felt his heart sink. She wasn't just hiding. She was the target of a chase, one that wouldn't end until they got what they wanted. And now, they might come through him to get it. Jacob looked around the room. They could be close already. "They are," she said without hesitation. "I felt them when I woke. Watching, waiting, then we have to move." She looked at him, confused. "Why help me? You don't even know me?" He stood, stepping toward the door. "Because no one deserves to freeze behind a church while killers hunt them." Lyra's lip trembled slightly. "Oh." She didn't say anything for a moment. Then, quietly, she asked, "Will they kill you too?" Jacob smiled, a sad and tired smile. "Maybe this is what I'm supposed to do?" She stared at him for a long second, like she was seeing something she hadn't seen before. Then she slowly stood, wrapping the coat tighter around herself. "Then I will follow." Jacob grabbed a flashlight and quietly opened the side door. The cold air rushed in again, but he didn't feel it anymore. Somewhere in the distance, a faint shimmer moved along the tree line, a shape not fully visible, just a distortion in the snow. They were already here. He looked back at Lyra, her eyes glowing gently under the moonlight, and nodded. "Let's go." They stepped into the night, hunted, outmatched, and completely alone. But something had changed now. She wasn't just a lost girl behind a church anymore, and he wasn't just a man with a quiet life. Their story had begun. *, the snow whispered. Under their boots, As Jacob and Lyra moved through the empty streets, sticking to the shadows, the cold bit at their skin. But they didn't stop. The town slept, unaware that something not of this world had arrived. Lyra pulled the coat tight. Around her, silver skin dim in the moonlight. She kept glancing over her shoulder, her glowing eyes flicking across rooftops, corners, and windows. "They follow," she said softly. Jacob didn't ask how she knew. He just believed her. There was something in her tone, not fear, but certainty. She could feel them like a scent in the wind. They turned into a narrow alley between two old buildings. Garbage bins, snow, and silence. Jacob stopped, turned to her. "If they find us, what will they do?" She looked him straight in the eye. "They don't talk, they take. And if they can't take, they end." Gawk's breath steamed in the eye. "Air. Then we keep moving." She nodded once, but as they stepped out the alley, Lyra suddenly grabbed his arm tight. Her eyes widened. "There." Jacob followed her gaze, and for a second, he saw it too. Across the street, standing, completely still in the middle of the road, was a figure. It shimmered, like heat waves rising from pavement. The shape was human-sized, but it bent slightly wrong, too smooth, too still. Outline flickered, as if struggling to exist in this world. It wore no face, no clothes, just a sleek, glassy cloak that made it nearly invisible. A cloaked hunter, Jacob pulled Lyra back into the alley fast, heart racing. The figure didn't move, but something about it made his stomach twist. It was waiting. "Why doesn't it attack?" he whispered. "They want the pendant," Lyra said. "If I'm dead, it's useless. They wait for the right moment." One clean strike, no risk. Jacob looked down the alley. There was only one way out, the far end, leading to the forest. His old truck was parked near there, behind the church garage. "We make a run for the truck," he said. 10 seconds. Stay low." Lyra hesitated. "They can move faster than bullets." He turned to her. "Do you trust me?" She stared at him for a long second, then nodded. Jacob took her hand. On 3, he whispered. He counted 1, 2, 3. They sprinted. Snow flew behind them. Jacob's lungs burned. Lyra kept up, running light and fast. As they turned the corner, the world behind them exploded into motion, a blur of silver streaking across the road. The hunter had moved. Jacob dove for the truck, pulling Lyra with him. He ripped open the driver's door and shoved her inside. The hunter was there suddenly, right in front of the truck. But Jacob didn't stop. He turned the key. The engine roared, and then he slammed the gas. The truck hit the hunter head-on. It flew backward like a ragdoll, flipping over the hood, then vanishing into the snow with a strange metallic screech. Jacob didn't wait to see if it got back up. They were gone. Tearing down the icy road toward the mountain path, inside the truck, Lyra was breathing hard, gripping the dashboard. She looked at Jacob with something like shock. "You didn't hesitate." He kept his eyes on the road. "Didn't have time." She stared a moment longer. Then quietly, "No one's ever protected me like that. It's not even my own blood." Jacob didn't answer. He focused on the curves ahead, the sharp turns through the forest. But something about her words stuck in his chest like a warm knife. As they drove deeper into the woods, Lyra touched her pendant again. It glowed faintly, but only for a moment. Jacob glanced at it. "That thing, can we use it to call for help?" She shook her head. "Not yet. It's locked until I reach a royal sanctuary or relay node. I need a signal tower. Human, alien, doesn't matter. Anything strong enough to transmit into orbit." Jacob thought hard. "There's an old ranger tower up in the hills. It's dead for years, but maybe it could be fixed." Her eyes lit up, hopeful. "Then we go." But hope didn't last long. Behind them, somewhere in the trees, a loud crashing sound echoed fast, angry, unnatural. Another hunter, or maybe two. Jacob gripped the wheel. "Hold on." The truck bumped and skidded as they left the road, heading up a narrow, frozen path toward the hills. Branches scratched the windows. Snow blinded them. but he didn't stop. Beside him, Lyra placed her hand gently on his. "Why? Do you do this for me?" Jacob didn't look at her, because I've seen enough people left behind. She was quiet for a long moment, and she said something he didn't expect. "You're nothing like they warned me about, human." He blinked. "What do you mean?" "They told me your kind were cruel, cold, greedy, monsters in skin." She paused. "But you gave me your coat. You carried me. You looked me in the eyes." Jacob finally turned to her, just for a second. "I'm just a man trying to do what's right." Outside the truck, in the darkness behind them, a faint blue light flickered between the trees. They were still being followed, and time was running out. Asterisk. The truck climbed higher into the mountains, engine groaning under the weight of snow and ice. Jacob's fingers were tight on the steering wheel, knuckles white. The forest grew darker with each turn. Pines leaned over the narrow path, snow heavy on their branches. Somewhere far below, the town's lights were now just tiny flickers. Swallowed by fog and night, Lyra sat still beside him, eyes closed, listening not to the engine, not to the wind, but to something else. She tilted her head slightly, as if hearing things Jacob could not. "They stopped," she whispered. Jacob blinked. "What? It's the hunters?" "I don't hear them anymore. They've gone quiet." "It sounds worse," Jacob muttered. "Means they're planning something." She didn't argue. Her hand slowly moved to the pendant, resting against her chest. Jacob noticed. "It keeps glowing, even reacting to things." Lyra hesitated. Then, softly, "It's a key." "To what?" She opened her eyes and looked at him. "To everything I used to be." He didn't speak, just gave her the space. "It's called a seed pendant," she said. "Holds more than my blood. Carries command rights, voice codes, genetic locks, authority levels passed from my mother. My grandmother, all the way back to the first royal matron of my line." Jacob whistled low. "So it proves your royalty." "Yes, and much more," she said. "With the right system access, it can activate ancient weapons, secure vaults, or even command war fleets." Jacob raised an eyebrow. "What? Let you carry that? I wasn't supposed to?" Her voice dropped. "It was hidden in my dress. A final act of trust. My mother gave it to me during the escape. She said, if you make it to Earth, stay quiet, stay hidden. Let no one see who you are until you can rise again." She paused. Her eyes grew wet. "I never got to say goodbye." Jacob looked away. He didn't know what to say to that. He had lost people before, but nothing like this. Not a throne, not a galaxy. Not a mother who handed her the future and told her to run. "You're strong," he said at last. "No," she said, voice soft. "I'm just surviving." Looked at her. That's what strength looks like. She turned her face away, hiding tears in her hair. The truck rounded one last bend, and the trees opened to reveal a small ridge. On top of the hill, an old watchtower stood, rusted and leaning, but still there, tall against the night sky. Metal steps twisted up its sides like a spine. Wires hung loosely from its frame. The wind whistled through it like an ancient ghost. "That's the place," Jacob said. They got out quickly. Snow crunched under their feet as they moved toward the base of the tower. Jacob helped Lyra climb the first set of stairs. The metal groaned under their weight, but it held by the time they reached the top. Both were breathless. The tower platform was small, but had a broken control box and a long-range antenna that stuck out into the stars. It looked dead. No lights, no signals, no hum. Lyra stepped forward. She pulled the pendant from around her neck and pressed it gently to a flat square on the control box. Nothing. She tried again. Still nothing. "It's broken," Jacob said, disappointment sinking in. But Lyra didn't move. Her eyes narrowed. "No, it's not dead. Just sleeping." She placed both her hands on the metal, closed her eyes, and spoke in a strange language, soft, rhythmic, like a prayer and a code at the same time. The pendant began to glow brighter. The box clicked, and then it lit up. A quiet hum filled the tower. Jacob stepped back. "What did you just do?" "I woke it," she said. "The pendant has old tech links. The system still holds ancient protocols. It obeys." Lines of glowing alien symbols ran across the display. A small projection appeared, a rotating hologram of her face, then her royal seal, a glowing star between two moons. The tower blinked once, then began to transmit. "I've sent the call," she said, breathing hard. "Coordinates, emergency code." Jacob looked at the night sky. "What now?" "Now we wait. Hope someone loyal still listens." Before she could finish that thought, the tower shook. A loud thud echoed below. Jacob ran to the edge and looked down. A shimmer moved at the based on one of the hunters had followed them. Another impact, and the stair rails bent inward. "He's coming up," Jacob shouted. Lyra grabbed the pendant and locked the signal, sealing it. "They can't get this." Jacob looked around. There was no weapon, no defense. But he found a steel pipe leaning in the corner. He grabbed it. Lyra's eyes widened. "You can't fight him alone," he looked at her. Calm. "I don't plan to fight." She was confused. "Then what?" "I plan to win." And with that, Jacob stood by the stairwell, ready, waiting for whatever nightmare came up next. Behind him, Lyra clutched the pendant and prayed. The stairwell groaned again. Jacob stepped forward, gripping the steel pipe like a bat, his breath fogging the cold air. He had no armor, no training, and no backup. But he had something the hunter didn't. Someone to protect. Shimmer on the steps turned solid for a moment, a creature halfway between flesh and machine. It moved without sound. Its limbs were too long, joints bending backwards, its skin like dark glass layered over bone. The head was a smooth oval, with no eyes or mouth, just a glowing slit that pulsed red as it locked onto Jacob. He didn't move. The hunter climbed slowly, confident, step by step. Behind Jacob, Lyra crouched by the tower's old antenna box, her hands on the controls, watching with wide eyes. She had seen royal guards fall to these creatures. She had seen them crush armored soldiers like paper. But this man, this human, stood with only a metal pipe and a steady gaze. The hunter reached the top platform. It paused, scanning. Then it moved fast. Jacob swung. The pipe cracked against the creature's arm. Sparks flew. It staggered slightly but didn't fall. It turned its full attention on him now. Jacob gritted his teeth. "Come on then." The hunter lunged. Jacob ducked barely and smashed the pipe into its side again. It flinched but didn't stop. A clawed hand grabbed his shoulder and slammed him against the wall of the tower. His vision blurred. The pipe dropped from his hands. Clattering across the metal floor, the hunter raised its arm, sharp blade flicking out from its wrist. "No," Lyra screamed. The creature turned its head slightly, distracted for just a second. Jacob moved. He drove his knee into the creature's midsection and pushed with all his strength. They both stumbled backward. Hunter tried to stabilize, but its foot landed on a patch of ice. It slipped. Jacob didn't waste the moment. He charged. The two slammed into the railing, the same railing the hunter had bent earlier when climbing. It groaned, cracked, broke. The creature slipped over the edge for a heartbeat. Jacob thought it was over, but the hunter grabbed him, and now Jacob was going over to Lyra, gasped as the man who had saved her was pulled toward death. But then another crack. The broken railing caught part of Jacob's belt as he fell. He dangled for a second, the wind howling around him, his arms flailing. The hunter wasn't so lucky. It slammed into the rocks far below, sparks flying as it vanished into the dark. Jacob hung there, breathless, blood on his forehead, clutching a twisted beam. Lyra rushed forward. "Hold on." She reached down, her hand wrapping around his wrist with surprising strength. She pulled. He groaned, gritted his teeth, and climbed with her help. Finally, he collapsed onto the tower floor, gasping for air. Lyra knelt beside him, her eyes wet. "You almost died," he chuckled weakly. "Yeah, but almost doesn't count." She smiled, the first real smile since they met. Then she touched his arm. No one ever fought for me like that, not even my bodyguards. They obeyed me because of duty. But you didn't have to. Jacob sat up, groaning. Guess I'm not very smart. She shook her head. No, you're human. That's something I never understood until now. Suddenly, a soft beep came from the control panel. Lyra turned. A new light had appeared on the screen, blinking. Green dot. Jacob limped to her side. What's that? She stared at it, then gasped. They heard me. A voice came through the tower's speaker. Distorted but clear. This is Talvac's royal signal relay. Identity confirmed. Princess Lyra of House Varelli, you are not forgotten. Extraction inbound. Lyra's hands trembled. Her lips parted, but no words came. Looked at Jacob, tears falling now. You did it, she whispered. You saved me. Jacob placed a hand on her shoulder. Not yet. Let's wait until your ride shows up. She nodded, laughing softly through the tears. Far above, stars shimmered, and among them, one star moved. A ship, massive and silent, cloaked in silver, descended like a ghost from the sky. It didn't roar, it didn't flash, it simply appeared, gliding down toward the earth like a royal chariot. But the night wasn't done. From the woods below, something moved. 3 more hunters, uncloaked now, rushed toward the tower. Lyra saw them first. We're not safe yet. Jacob grabbed the pipe again, though his hand shook. He looked at her. You need to go. The ship's coming for you. I'll hold them. Her eyes widened. No, I'm not leaving you. This was never about me, Lyra. Her voice cracked. But it is now. The tower shook as the first hunter began climbing fast. The second jumped, clawing into the side. The third took aim with a strange weapon, something that pulsed with sickly green light. Lyra stood. She held up the pendant. Her voice changed, powerful, royal, commanding by the seal of Varelli. Stand down. And the pendant exploded with light. Asterisk. The pendant flared like a newborn star. A wave of golden light rippled out from Lyra, bursting across the tower and into the cold night. The hunters stopped climbing mid-motion. Their bodies froze, not in fear, but in confusion. The energy pulsed through their cloaks and systems, sending interference into their circuits. Their limbs twitched, and 2 of them dropped from the tower's frame, landing hard on the ground below. Only one held on, clawing at the metal with its glassy fingers. Slowly dragging itself up toward the platform, Lyra's hand trembled. The pendant dimmed, the glow fading to a flicker. She staggered, almost falling, and Jacob caught her. You okay? He asked, steadying her. She nodded weakly. It drained power. I won't be able to do that again. Jacob glanced over the edge. Then let's make it count. Above them, the sky was no longer empty. A ship broke through the clouds, silent, sleek, the size of a city block. Its hull shimmered with silver and violet plating, humming softly with power. A massive symbol glowed on its side. 2 moons. Circling a star, the mark of the royal house of V. RELLI. Lights along the belly of the ship activated. Scanning the mountain below. A column of golden energy fired down from its core, striking the snow-covered hill 100 meters from the tower, carved a perfect landing pad in the earth, melting the snow instantly and setting the trees swaying from the heat. A voice echoed. Again from the pendant. Princess Lyra. This is Commander Thaurin of the Varelli escort fleet. Your signal is received. A team is inbound for recovery. Jacob watched as a smaller vessel detached from the main ship, a sleek shuttle moving fast toward their location. He should have felt relief, maybe even pride, but all he could feel was the weight in his chest. She was going home. He wasn't part of that world. Lyra looked up at him. Her eyes searched his face. Come with me. He blinked. What? Come. Aboard, please. Jacob shook his head slowly. That's not my place. You belong up there, I don't. You saved me, she said, stepping closer. I don't care about bloodlines or protocol. I care about you, before he could answer. The remaining hunter pulled itself over the edge. It rose, slow and silent, blade arm glowing with deadly light. Lyra saw it first and screamed, "Jacob." Jacob turned too late. The blade slashed toward him, but Lyra stepped in front of it. The weapon struck her side. She collapsed instantly, her body folding into Jacob's arms. "No, no, no, no," he whispered, lowering her to the floor. The hunter raised its arm again for the killing blow. A thunderous blast rocked the tower. The creature's head exploded in sparks and molten glass. A beam of golden energy sliced it in half before it could finish the strike. A team of armored figures had arrived, tall alien warriors in silver and blue armor, carrying advanced rifles. They moved like ghosts, fast and deadly. Two of them secured the platform. One knelt beside Jacob. "Move aside, human. We will stabilize her." Jacob didn't move. He was frozen, staring at Lyra's face. Her eyes fluttered open. You stayed," she whispered. "Of course I did," he said, voice cracking. She smiled faintly. "Then stay with me, wherever I go." The medic injected a glowing serum into her arm. "Confirmed, but she needs treatment. Now." They lifted her gently onto a floating stretcher. Before the soldiers could carry her away, she reached out and grabbed Jacob's hand. "Don't leave me behind," she said softly. "You're not just a part of this. You're part of me." For a second, Jacob just stared. Then he nodded once. "All right," he turned to the soldiers. "You take her, I'm coming with." They didn't argue. Royal orders weren't to be questioned. The shuttle lowered, doors open. Inside, glowing white lights and soft alien hums filled the space. Jacob followed them in, never once letting go of her hand. The shuttle rose fast, pulling them up toward the great royal ship above. Jacob glanced through the window, Earth falling away behind him, small and distant, a planet that had once been his whole world. Now, something new waited among the stars. Lyra lay on a healing bed, breathing easier now, the pendant glowing once more beside her heart as the ship took them in. Jacob sat beside her, not sure what came next, but she looked over at him, and even in pain she whispered, "Soon they'll all know. Humans saved the heir to an empire." Jacob gave a quiet smile. "And I'll still just be the guy who worked in a church." She laughed, a soft, weak sound, but real. Above them, the stars opened wider, but somewhere in the dark, not all was done. Far away in the void, another signal activated, different, colder, dangerous. The hunter force had failed. Something far worse had now taken notice. The princess had survived, and Earth would never be ignored again. Asterisk, the royal cruiser drifted through space, silent as a dream. Silver hull shimmered against the black stars, glowing softly with ancient energy. Inside, the halls were vast and clean, made of strange metals that hummed when touched. Everywhere Jacob looked, aliens in smooth armor moved with purpose, speaking in soft tones, bowing their heads to Lyra as she passed. They didn't look at him the same way. Some watched with quiet curiosity. Others with doubt. He didn't care. Lyra was alive. That was all that mattered. She walked beside him now, wrapped in a flowing robe of pale gold. Her skin healed, though a faint scar still marked her side. Her pendant pulsed with soft light, now fully activated. No longer glowed, only when threatened it glowed with every step she took, responding to her presence. She was more than a survivor now. She was royalty returned. They stopped before a towering set of crystal doors. "Is the high chamber," she said, looking at him. "The council waits inside." Jacob raised an eyebrow. "Council of what?" She smiled slightly. "Council of the Throne Worlds. Every major house in the Varelli Alliance. They've waited years to decide who should take the seat after my family disappeared. Now, they wait for me." Jacob rubbed the back of his neck. "And I'm just walking in with you? You're not just anything," she said, voice firm. "You're the reason I'm here at all." The doors opened. The chamber inside was enormous, round, glowing, and filled with high-backed chairs that floated in place. Beings of many shapes and colors sat in silence, their eyes fixed on Lyra as she entered. She held her head high, but she didn't let go of. Jacob's hand, gasps echoed across the room. Some murmured, others scowled. A tall alien with skin-like Silverbark leaned forward. "Princess Lyra, you've returned with a human." She stepped forward. "A human who saved my life. A human who fought off royal hunters with no armor, no weapons, and no hope, only courage. He stood between me and death, not for power, not for money, but because he saw me." The chamber went quiet. Another counselor, this one scaled and old, sneered. "You bring a lesser species into a royal assembly?" Jacob took a breath to speak, but Lyra beat him to it. "Lesser? Did you call him lesser?" she said, voice rising. "When all of you sat safe in your high towers, he risked his life with no reason to. He showed more honor than all your guards combined. You should learn from him, not mock him." Jacob blinked. That wasn't a speech he expected. The room shifted. Some counselors nodded. Others looked away in shame. One finally stood. A woman with 3 eyes and a calm expression. "The law says no outsider can sit beside a royal heir. But perhaps it's time that law changes." Lyra turned to Jacob. "If you want to leave, I'll understand. Your world is behind you. Your life, your church, it's all still there." He looked at her, really looked. Her eyes glowed not from power, but from something else now: trust. Hope. The kind of look no one had given him in years. He stepped closer. "I don't know how to lead empires," he said. "I don't know how to speak to councils or command fleets, but I know how to stand beside someone when it matters." She smiled. "Then stay with me." "I'm not going anywhere." The council whispered again. Some argued. Others leaned back, thoughtful. Eventually, the 3-eyed woman raised her hand. "So be it. The princess returns, and her choice stands. Earth's first human steps into the light of the stars, not as a prisoner or a servant, but as an equal." The chamber lit with golden beams. Lyra's pendant responded, casting her seal high above them for all to see, glowing brighter than ever before. She turned to Jacob. "You're part of this now." He chuckled softly. "Guess I'll need a better jacket." They both laughed, but deep in the cruiser's command center, silent signal blinked. A probe launched from deep space had picked up the princess's activation beacon. But it hadn't come from loyal worlds. It had come from the fringe where dark fleets and ancient enemies slept. A red symbol flickered on the screen. Something old, something feared. The captain frowned. They were not alone in the galaxy. And someone else had just found out that Earth now had a seat at the table. Later, in a quiet room aboard the cruiser, Lyra sat with Jacob under a clear dome of glass. Stars stretched across the sky above them. They sipped hot drinks from glowing cups. She leaned against his shoulder. "Back there," she whispered, "behind the church. I was ready to die." He looked down at her. "So was I, just didn't know it yet." She smiled. "But you changed everything." "No," he said gently. "You did." Their hands met again, this time not out of fear, but out of something stronger. The stars watched in silence, and for the first time in a long, long while, the galaxy felt a little warmer.